From one of the fastest tracks we go to in the 1UP Superstar Series, we go to the absolute longest. We go overseas to Monza, the Temple of Speed, for today's fifth race of the 1UP Superstar Series season in 2023. 6.2 miles per lap of racing here at this fantastic road circuit built in the parklands of Italy. It's fantastic to be here, and I'm very glad to bring you the action for the fourth consecutive year here at Monza. Alongside me to break down the 20 laps of racing action set to come is James Ellison once again. And as we've seen the last few years here, this race almost always comes down to a nail-biting drag race to the line. Do we expect anything different here today?
Oh, absolutely not. I don't expect anything different because, like you said, we've had some really good finishes, and I can't help but think about last year. That was a real good race, great finish, and one very excited winner.
And I'm sure 41 other drivers would love to deny Cale Teskar Jr. the chance to repeat as a Monza winner. But with Teskar starting 11th in this race, he's got some ground to make up, but it's not impossible with the right strategy and the right slingshot moves. This is going to be a real slipstreamer of a race. The classic Monza slipstream is what people come here to see, and we're ready to put it on for you. As we now bring you the full starting lineup for today's 20-lap race. Jared Polansky on pole position by nearly 0.2 of a second over second-place Jeffrey Finguy, and they make up the front row, while in third place you have Cody Goforth making his first Superstar start in over a year, deputizing it for Revolution Racing this week. And Roberto Crown Jr., he came so close to winning so many times this season. Could today be the day? He lines up fourth.
Yeah, honestly, it's going to be real interesting to see who can be the one to take the win today, because obviously we know Cale Teskar Jr. wants to repeat. There's several others here who would love nothing more than to be able to get a victory. I mean, look at our pole sitter. He certainly would like to get a win.
Absolutely. It's been a long time since Polansky's been to victory lane. Could today be the day we see him go back? But that's enough talking for now. We're ready to bring you 20 laps of racing action, over 120 miles of racing to come. This is the 1UP Superstar Series from Monza, and the green flag is mere moments away. Stay tuned. It's about to get interesting here. Coming out of the North Banking, it is Jared Polansky and Jeffrey Finguy on the front row, leading us to the green flag. It is in the air, and we're underway for 20 laps at Monza, and already people are starting to get antsy trying to make moves, but Polansky's already clear for the lead going into the South Banking for the first time.
That is honestly no surprise. That 18 has been pretty strong. It's just his starting positions haven't always been the greatest so far this year, but starting on the pole, he'd like to stay up there, but you got Finguy already trying to get to him.
And they can get up to speeds of 225 miles per hour down this long back straightaway here at Monza. Finguy pulls out to the outside with help from Roberto Crown Jr. and from Cody Goforth. They're all going to try and train their way past Polansky as they head into Curva Grande for the first time. This long, sweeping right-hander is a great place to make some overtaking, but they're side by side coming out of the corner, heading towards the Della Raggia. Everybody looks like they're pointed in the right direction. That's fantastic. Finguy to the lead.
Yeah, you wasn't able to bring Crown or Goforth or even Sanders with him, but I don't think he cares. He wants to be up there with nobody challenging him now that he's there, but as we've seen in any race, anything can happen.
Absolutely. Out of the Lesmo corners they come. Polansky now trying to get underneath Finguy for the lead, going under the overpass here at Monza. This track crosses over itself. It's a beautiful sight to see cars on either side going past each other. But Polansky now retakes the lead as they head through Ascari, heading towards the final braking zone of the lap, the Parabolica, the most famous corner of this racetrack. And it's going to be a heavy braking followed by a long sweeping right. These guys are going to have to be perfect if they're going to make it through here.
And perfection, like you said, it's the name of the game when it comes to, a good chunk of this course. But honestly, doing things like what Polansky and Finguy are doing, it's allowing them to pull away a little bit, but we'll see how things play out because there's some really strong cars behind them.
Yeah, and they're already single file for about the top half dozen of this field. But as they head through the banking, on the north side for the first time at full racing speed. It is Jared Polansky off of the fourth corner. He's an underratedly good road racer. He hasn't won on a road course in a while. I don't know if he's ever won. I'd have to check my notes. But he's doing a very good job leading now. But Finn Guy comes to his outside. Here comes Crown to try and defend his teammate.
And defend for now. Maybe take over the lead in a little while once he clears Finn Guy. It looks like he's getting ready to do it now.
Yeah, Finn Guy had the check up in the banking there, and it's very important not to lose momentum in there. That's something we're going to see all race long. These guys are going to have to check up sometimes in the banking, lose about 10, 20 miles an hour. They're able to get back up to top speed pretty quickly, but that little slip is what can sometimes make or break your race here.
Absolutely. As we see now here, Cody Goforth in that number 4 car already trying to get past the 81 and go into second place, but got a little bit of work to do, but that is a strong car he has.
Yeah, this is his first Superstar start since the end of 2021, and he's making the most of it. He's started third. He's all the way up to second now. He's only one car away from leading in his Superstar return. Could this be a predecessor for a full-time return in 2024? We shall see in the coming weeks ahead. But now Goforth's under pressure from Roberto Crown Jr. once again, as heading through Ascari we go, and Goforth keeps ahead of Crown for now.
Yeah, don't look now. The two best friends right there, Finn Guy and Sanders, are right there not far from each other. They were literally nose to tail for a second, but Finn Guy, he's got a strong forward keeping ahead of that number 87 Dodge.
Absolutely, and while there's 3 Toyotas out in the lead of this race right now, we've got every other manufacturer in the series, 4th through 6th. So we've got parity in the field. That is exactly what we want to see in one-up competition as they head into the North Banking to complete lap number 2. And it should be Polansky out in front once again, unless Goforth pulls out on him late. But I think Crown's going to keep him occupied for the time being.
Yeah, you can't really make a move on somebody for position. Maybe you can, and defend a position while trying to take a position. We see it right here, Goforth going for it.
Oh, but he has to let off the gas. That's going to let Polansky get a huge lead through the South Banking, as Polansky now takes a massive lead over Goforth, who backed up Crown in quite a dramatic fashion. But they're back up to top speed already, so it wasn't too much of a loss. They can regroup and start to chase after the 18 once again, because the draft is absolutely critical here, even if it's a road course. This track, so heavy on aerodynamics, you need a good car here to perform.
Yeah, and if your car starts skipping, like you lose a cylinder, you have aerodynamic issues because you bump somebody too hard, that's going to make a really long day where you're probably going to end up falling back a lot. And, well, one person who's not falling back is Lane Sanders as he goes after his buddy.
Through the first Lesmo they go, side by side. Finn Guy and Sanders for the 4th position. Looks like Finn Guy's going to keep the position for now, but that 87 is fast today. And of course, you said if someone had a little coming together with the wall, we've seen in years past here cars get stuck on the opposite side of the Armco barriers, and they can't go anywhere after that. So it's going to be interesting to see if that befalls anyone in this race. So far, it hasn't. But Finn Guy holding steady in 4th, just behind the super sub Cody Goforth in 3rd.
Yeah, you say super sub, he's doing a super job, and I'm not apologizing for that poor attempt of a pun, but yeah, he is doing a great job hanging in there where he started.
Yeah, if he can get a top 10 here today, that would be a win for Cody Goforth, making his first start in so long, and he's not used to these cars. He's raced Nitro National cars the last few years. This would be a great return for him. But it's still early in this race. We haven't even completed lap 3 yet. As off the final corner we come, and their 2 teammates are going to be side by side coming to the line.
Yeah, and even better, they know how to get along with each other, but they also know how to really go for it against each other and their competitors, as Goforth coming back up in the picture again with Finn Guy helping.
Yeah, but again, he had to get out of the gas. That car is not handling well in the south banking, is Cody Goforth. He's got to get that fixed on his pit stop, which should come at about half race distance, maybe a little past half race distance. But these guys will have to pit, despite it being only a 20-lap race. The fuel consumption is the highest on the circuit here, just because of how full throttle you are for much of this circuit, and it's 6.2 miles. So anything you do here will be costly, as Crown goes for the lead round the outside on Curva Grande, past Polanski.
And it looks like he might... he had to check up a little bit, but he's still hanging in there, so... He could still get it, but he's on the outside at the moment.
And through the Lesmos, that's not where you want to be. But if you can get a good run through the second one and cross under the 18, he could try and make a run at it here. But now he's got the preferred line off the second of the Lesmo corners, heading towards the underpass down the short chute. And Crown now fully in the lead here at Monza.
Yeah, he's already trying to set sail, but yeah, I don't think Polanski's going to let him get too far unless Goforth gets to fighting him, which F4 is closing on the 18.
Maybe Polanski just doesn't handle as well in the dirty air of another car, because that's something that's going to play a factor in this race, the turbulent air of cars behind you. It's not going to matter as much on the straightaways, and heck, you're going to want it on the straightaways, and even on the bank corners just because of the draft. But in the slow, tight road coursey corners, like Parabolica and the two Lesmos, those are the ones where you really want clean air on the nose of your car to try and make something happen. As J.D. Martin actually now has the fastest lap of this race, a 2-minute 11.9. So that's a good lap for the 66 driver. If he can hold on to that, he'll be earned a bonus point. But off for the final corner for the fourth time, they're going to be side by side once again, but this time it's Crown at the line.
And that is an all too critical thing. But yeah, that's 18. We've talked about it, and we're going to keep talking about it as long as these two are dogging it out for the lead. He ain't going to want to stay back there. He's not going to be happy until he gets around and goes for the win.
And here's Cody Goforth just lurking back there, trying to see if these two have a little coming together. We've seen teammates come a proper at this circuit before, but here comes Crown and Polanski into Curva Grande. Polanski's going to have the run around the outside, and I think he might be able to retake the lead here before long. But Crown's got the advantage off the corner, heading towards Della Raggia. This is going to be really close here for these guys. Oh, and they almost made contact.
Yeah, that would make for a very awkward team meeting on Monday if these two come together and wreck each other, but they seem to be able to sort it out just fine for now.
And for a circuit that's not used to having full contact cars, these guys are sure putting on a show for the Italian fans of one-up competition as they barrel it off down the short chute underneath the overpass. Crown holds the lead. We'll see if Polanski can get him entering Ascari.
Yeah, he's going for it now. He has the preferred line at the moment, and they're down side by side. Let's see if he can do it. Going down this long straightaway, bit of a drag race, leaving the 4 and the 92 behind him, watching on.
Oh, but they're closing in there, the 4 and the 92, as the two teammates keep going side by side with each other. And this has been absolutely great for the fans' perspective, but maybe not for the Kings Motorsports team personnel, because they realize they're one slip away from having 2 wrecked race cars, which is absolutely not what you want to have here.
No, absolutely not. And talk about the Kings Motorsports crews. I'm sure they're real happy to watch the 18 and the 81 going around this circuit 1-2 right now. They just, like you said, they just would rather not have to deal with repairing 2 cars.
And so Polanski takes the lead back. We're a quarter of the way through this race now on lap number 6. And Crown slows up in the south banking. That allows Polanski to get a huge lead here. And it lets Finguy and Goforth scrap it away for the 3rd position, and Devin Fair is making his way towards the front in the 51. Remember, he got his first career win at Montreal last year. He's not too shabby on these road courses either, and he's strutting his stuff out in front in the 5th position right now.
Yeah, and he's one more. You say he's 5th, but going after Finguy and maybe Goforth next, he does not want to settle for where he's at. He's already passed Sanders, passed McMillan, going after Finguy next.
that puts 2 Revolution Racing cars in the top 5. Goforth and Fair to join the 2 Kings Motorsports cars and Finguy's Ford. It's going to be a very interesting battle from here on out for the rest of this race. But Roberto Kern Jr., I think he wants this lead back, and he wants it very soon. Because while I'm sure he'd love to have Polanski as a wingman to back him up, I'm sure he'd love to be the one in a Kings Motorsports 1-2.
Yeah, we talked about it. He's had some heartbreak already this year. So close a few times, and that he'd love nothing more than to be able to say that he got his first career win. And I think he'd love to do what Cale Tescart Jr. did last year and make it here tonight.
Could we see back-to-back first-time winners for Kings Motorsports here at Monza? We're about 15 laps from finding out, as they barrel it off down the second part of the back straightaway. You go down this straight twice up per lap, as they barrel it off into the north banking, and Polanski with a slightly bigger lead than he had at the line, and he should be able to stay firmly ahead of his teammate, and pretty much everybody else is far and away behind.
Yeah, and Finguy once again trying to get past the Ford Goforth, but can't really do anything with him as Polanski leads at the line once again.
But Crown is there. He's diving it off into the south banking to start lap number 7. He didn't have to let up quite as much this time, but he still had to let off just a smidgen, and that's going to allow Goforth right back to him. As we've got pretty much the top 9 are separated by about a second and a half. This is some great competition we've got here out front. And this racing is going to continue for the rest of this race, even after pit stops. These guys are going to be foot to the floor much of this race. You can see for an average speed of 167 miles per hour on a road course, that's pretty impressive.
Oh, absolutely. And right now, looks like Crown's kind of holding up some of the rest of the top 5 and top 10 here as he tries to figure out what to do to get back to Polanski.
Yeah, because no matter which order they're in, the second place car in that duo is going to have to play rear gunner for the first car. And in this case, it's Crown playing wingman for Polanski. But I'm sure if they swapped around at some point through a battle for the lead, I'm sure Polanski would do the same thing. But as they head towards the underpass once again, I think, yeah, there's not going to be a fight for the lead through Ascari this time, but we might see one for third because Goforth and Finguy are very close to each other.
As they have been most of the race so far. It's just a matter of when Finguy can find a way around that 4, and if he does, can he catch these 2?
It's going to be very interesting to see. We come through Parabolica to approach the end of lap 7. The pit stops are about 4 laps away. These guys are burning a lot of fuel per lap. Remember, it's a 10-kilometer lap here at Monza. That is by far the longest on the Superstar schedule, and any one-up race for that matter. But these guys are not willing to give an inch as Crown tries to take a peek under his teammate for the lead. We'll see if he makes it stick.
He's holding steady. He's not able to get by him yet, but he's in a really good spot. Well, not anymore, but he gave it an effort.
And he can still make this happen if he gets his corner right, and he does this time. Great corner for Crown through the south banking. As they come off of turn, this is the second of the many corners at Monza. As you can see, most of the field at the front is single file, but not anymore, because here comes Crown with a push from Goforth and Finguy. They're going to try and freight train past Polanski, but now Goforth helps the 18.
Yeah, and that might be a bit detrimental to Goforth and Polanski, as Finguy has just decided he's going to stick with Crown for now, as the 81 he has cleared for the lead.
Very impressive from the third-year driver at Kings Motorsports. Roberto Crown Jr. Fighting for his seat here for next year. He's doing a fantastic job proving to these guys that he's worthy of this seat for the future as well. And you can see, check back for the rest of the field, see where your favorite driver's running. The whole field separated by 13 seconds. Brandon Beal having a very rough day. 3 seconds off the 41st place car. Maybe that engine's just not firing off correctly, or maybe he just doesn't like this circuit. Either way, As we check the fastest lap, Austin Holloman by 2.5 tenths has the fastest lap, but with a 2:11.50. So that's more than enough to get the fastest lap for Austin Holloman, and boy does he need it, because after this race, we used the top 30 in this year's points to set the field for the next race at Iowa Speedway. That is going to be a very tight battle for the top 30.
Yeah, every point's going to matter for that. And like you said, when we start using this year's points, it's going to be, that battle's going to really heat up, because you every week there's a good chance that it could be someone different who could be just outside looking in, or somebody who just barely gets locked in for the next week.
Yeah, for the guys up front, they really don't have to worry about it that much. For Goforth, he doesn't have to worry about it because he's not racing for a championship here. And for everybody else, they're high enough in the point standings to where it won't affect them too badly. But if they were to have a problem here and at Iowa, they could tumble down the order in a real hurry.
Absolutely. It's something you don't want to see happen. You don't want to have to experience it. You mentioned Goforth. Not only is he not worried about it because he's not fighting for a championship, that 4 is locked in regardless. But for
how much longer is the question? That 4 car entered this race outside the top 30 in owners' points. So, for the guy who has to drive that car at Iowa, that could be he could have to qualify that car in on time next week.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's one of the things that's one thing. Okay, so yeah, it is one thing he does have to worry about. My mistake there. As we see Finn Guy going after the Kings Motorsports duo.
First guy to really challenge them all race long is Finn Guy, and he splits the 2 Toyotas up front. So Finn Guy now moves up to second behind Roberto Crown Jr., slips Polanski back to third. This is the lowest the 18's been all day. And it looks like William Brock's had an issue on the racetrack. He's going very, very slowly through the north banking. So something must have happened to that 93, but he is now way off the pace, and he's probably going to make his pit stop right around here. Or actually, he just came out of the pits, I should say.
Well, that would explain a lot, as don't look now, I see a number 87 that has moved past Goforth. Lane Sanders, anybody who remembers last year, things didn't exactly go smooth for him. So he's wanting redemption for that.
Absolutely. He's come to like this track. He was running very well here last year until that incident you mentioned took place. But we're closing in on race distance, and Goforth has been doing a great job fending off the field. Crown has been doing a good job holding off the field for the lead. As Finn Guy and Polanski now, the 2 front row starters, go side by side for a second spot. Finn Guy's going to have it at the start-finish line, but Crown unchallenged at the front for now.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what is a challenge is Polanski was holding off Lane Sanders and Finn Guy until the 87 had to check up. Actually, they both did a little bit here. And Kings Motorsports 1-2 once again.
Yeah, not a great corner for Finn Guy, and a very bad one for Lane Sanders. He's now got Goforth and Hutchinson back there on his bumper, trying to make their way past. We haven't talked about Hutchinson much today. He's not really known for his road racing prowess, but he's doing a good job here in the 6th position right now, as Polanski makes his way back past Crown for the lead out of Curva Grande.
Yeah, these guys keep fighting, and that's going to allow Finn Guy to get to him, but you talk about going back to Hutchinson. I've been watching him. He's been lurking back there. He snuck into the top 10, and he was quietly going unnoticed until you mentioned him, and that it's looking like a pretty good day for him if he can just hang where he's at.
You can see at the back of the field, Brandon Beal's just having a miserable time way off pace of the field, and William Brock's already made his pit stop. So, as we take the halfway lap this time, Brock is quite a long ways behind. He's about 1.5 minutes off the lead now, but behind these guys, fighting it out for the lead down, going into Parabolica, but Brock doesn't have the pit again, so maybe he can leapfrog a few guys doing that, but I don't know. It's a long way to go, even still. As you can see, he's now 1:13 off the lead, and Brandon Beal is 7 seconds off 40th place AJ Jones. So Beal's got something wrong with that car. He's just not able to keep in touch with the field around him.
Yeah, and And we talk about people in trouble. Crown's in trouble. He just lost 2 spots to Finn Guy and looks like Sanders as well, as they have some really good corners here.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting to see if we get what's going to happen here. But Sanders now up into the podium places here. This could be Sanders' best result in quite a while. And look who he's going to try and push to the lead. It's Jeffrey Finguy in the 92. Never mind, he ducks to the bottom, trying to make it 3 wide for a moment, but Polanski knows is out ahead of them both.
Yeah, that. I was just thinking, are they going to be frenemies here? But nope, forget that. Lane wants second.
Yeah, but Finguy's got Crown pushing him, and that could be the key difference here. Because remember, at Curva Grande, you want to be around the outside of the guy you're fighting, because you get a wider arc through the corner. As you can see it, Finguy just gets a wider curve through the corner, and he should be able to hold off Sanders. No! Sanders with a nice move up to second spot. Will he be able to hold it? You betcha he can.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely a move. And he's got some horsepower under the hood of that Dodge, and now he's going to try to set his sights on Polanski, or at the very least, hold off Finguy until pit stops.
Which should be in about a lap or 2. So, these guys are running on empty at the moment. We'll see if they can make it back to the pit lane in time. You can go about 10 to 12 laps on a tank of fuel. They're right in the middle of that window. They should be able to make it without issue. But heading for Riscari, Polanski's got the advantage over Sanders and Finguy. But man, this 87's been on a tear.
Oh yeah, he started in a pretty good spot, started 6th, and now running 2nd. The only thing he has to hope for is that pit stops go well, and maybe, just maybe, he could leapfrog Polanski.
Yeah, remember, this is the narrowest pit lane in all of 1-Up racing. So these guys are going to have to mind their P's and Q's on their way in and out of the pits. You might see some guys struggle to get out of their pits because the train of cars going by past them. So you could see a lot of slow stops as a result of that. But coming through the north banking to complete lap 11, we'll see if these guys peel off this time. They come off the final corner. It looks like they are coming in. And it looks like everybody's coming in all at once, with a few exceptions. You see Ben McDonald staying on the racetrack. Mark Davies stayed out. These two are doing a good job of extending their stint. And the 64, Brian Grigsby, in just his 2nd career Superstar start, he's got an alternate strategy as well as the rest of the field peels off.
Yeah, it looks like they're the only 3. Just about everybody else around them has come in, and we'll see how things play out here, because like I was talking about with Sanders, he could leapfrog or he could fall back. We're about to find out how these guys turn out.
So we will see how this pit cycle plays itself out here. It's going to be very interesting to see, because these guys are... you see Hutchinson's the first one done. Sanders comes out, and then Polanski. So it looks like the order's going to hold, but Hutchinson gains a few spots coming out of the pits, wow. And it looks like a slow stop for Cody Goforth. He's being held while the rest of the field streams past. He's not cleared to exit
Dylan
safely.
Young too.
Dylan Young, he's finished top 10 in every race so far this season. That could be in jeopardy here, as it looks like Miles Mashburn in the 72. He must have pit the lap before, because he's rocketing past all these guys. He might be in position to get a good finish here now.
Yeah, and we talked about it, and I'm sure some of these guys are probably grateful they're not the ones who got that problem, but we saw it. Dylan Young, Cody Goforth, man, some strong runs that could very well be destroyed from that.
We still have about 9 laps to go, so anything can still happen in this race. But here are your leaders now, McDonald and Davey. These two, plus Brian Grigsby, have not pitted yet. They're right on the edge of their fuel window, so they're more than likely going to be coming in this time. But could an overcut be the strategy here? Could you wait a lap and see if you can jump these guys in the pits? Because remember, those 3 are going to come in by themselves. They're going to have a much cleaner pit lane than everybody else around them, as Polanski and Sanders battle it out for the net lead.
Yeah, this could be important, and as you see right there, you were talking about it, Sanders, Polanski fighting for what will be the lead, potentially, as here they come now, the 12, the 01, and the 64. cleaner pit road. We'll see how this cycles out. It could be really good, especially for Grigsby, because that could really help him have a good finish if he can hang on after he gets out of the pits.
And boy, does that team need a good finish. Team Dayspring in their second year of Superstar Racing. They're doing a fantastic job with both cars. But Grigsby, he came into the pits third. We'll see if he can stay there. And here's McDonald and Davey making their pit stops. And here come the rest of the leaders into the North Banking. We'll see if they can stay ahead. Here they come. They're coming out of the pits, and the leaders haven't even hit the start-finish line yet.
Yeah, but they got to get up to speed. That's going to be the real test to see what happens, especially with these leaders, as they're all bunched up together. And what a combination here. You see they're going by. Mashburn, he really played a strategy well because he's up there with Hutchinson, Polanski, and Sanders now.
But don't look now. They might have passed Brian Grigsby, but they haven't passed Davey or McDonald. So I think these two are going to be your leaders after all this. These four are going to be pretty close, but I think it's these two that are going to hang on to the first two positions as Polanski makes a move on Sanders now for the third spot.
One would think that these four would want to try to... Oh, I guess it don't matter because they're catching up to him already because they're side by side. This race for the win has just got interesting as we're going to be at 7 to go at the line.
Some big losers on that pit cycle. Cody Goforth, obviously. Dylan Young, obviously. And also Roberto Crown Jr. had a slow stop. He's now fallen back to just inside the top 10 in 9th. So it's a tough break for him. Doesn't look like he'll be able to get that maiden win this time around, but I'm sure his time will come one of these days. But at this point in time, you've got 4 guys side by side for the lead. You got Hutchinson and Mashburn just lurking back there. We'll see if these guys can battle it out competitively the whole rest of the way.
So far, so good. And, I think Sanders thought he was looking pretty until he saw that the 12 and the 01 were still ahead of him. And now, Polanski trying to make a move up here to get back up to Davey.
Yeah, Mark Davey, his Nitro National Series tenure was filled with road course wins. He got 3 in 1 year in 2021. He moved up to the Superstar Series, then he started winning on ovals. He won the 500 in 2022, and he won at Washington, D.C. He's looking for his first road course win in the Superstar Series, and that's a bit of a surprise. Coming year 2 in this series, we've had a road course win for Mark Davey. That sounds absurd, but that's the honest truth for him. He'd love to get it here at Monza.
Yeah, but he's got to get back by. He's got to hold off Mashburn, which doesn't look like it's going to happen at the moment, and he's got to get by Sanders and Polanski, who are back to duking it out for the lead.
Man, wouldn't it be something if Lane Sanders broke his winless streak here at Monza as Polanski gets out of shape into the South Banking? That's going to be a big concern. Look at the lead Sanders has over the rest of the field. Now Mashburn up to second.
And I think Miles is liking what he's seeing there, but honestly, this is going to be a big day for somebody, and we're looking at somebody who's going to have a big day there. With Grigsby, the strategy played out pretty well. It's not going to be a top 5 or a victory, but it'll probably feel like one at the end of the day if they can hold on.
Remember, this is just his second career start, and he self-proclaims he's terrible at road courses. But I guess when you got the right equipment under you and you got a lead foot here at Monza, it can pay dividends for you. As Grigsby currently hangs onto a spot in the top 10. But out in front right now, it's Lane Sanders by quite some margin over the battling pair of Polanski and Mashburn. We're coming to 6 laps to go next time they cross the line.
Yeah, 6 laps to go, and even side by side, Polanski and Mashburn have caught Sanders. So this ain't over by a long shot. I talked about it before the race. This is shaped up to be another great finish for us.
Everybody loves Monza. You just can't deny it. It's produced some great racing, the best road course racing we've ever seen in the Superstar Series, I'll be honest with you. But we're still not done yet. We're coming to 6 laps to go. We're still about 7 and change laps remaining. We'll see if Sanders can hold on to lead this lap. He'll pick up a bonus point for that, and that's huge for him because he's having the best start to a season he's ever had. He hasn't had a top 10 yet, but he's 10th in points. And with a good run here today, he could leapfrog a bunch of cars. that are having poor days here at Monza.
That is, if he can hold on here. And Polanski tried. Davey was looking inside Polanski as well. And Sanders will get that point.
But I think Polanski does have the point for most laps led in the bag at this point. So he can rest assured of that. And notice that McDonald and Hutchinson are starting to lose touch with these first four. And we got one of each manufacturer up there. We got Sanders Dodge, we got Polanski's Toyota, Davies Ford, and Mashburn's Chevrolet all in the top four positions. That's what we want to see. We want to see good racing among all four makes, and we're seeing it here. We look back a little ways for the rest of the top 10, but Sanders holds steady out in the lead for now.
Yep, and you talk about the rest of the top 10. Someone who's peeked into the picture, who's had some really good runs of late, Emma Carter, is in there right up there in 9th place right now as of the last scoring.
Yeah, that's true. She's had a very solid run, and she's good on the road courses. We've got her most recent win at one, so never quite know what's going to happen with that 70 bunch. Another guy to lose out big on the stops, Jeffrey Finguy. He was among these leaders for much of the day. Now he's almost 4 seconds off the lead. You see him at the back of your shot there. So not quite what he was hoping for, but and we got somebody in trouble. He was heading through the banking. That's J.D. Martin. He looks to be out of this race now.
I wonder what happened. I mean, that 66 is all beat up, and there was obviously an incident we missed, and that's a tough break for him.
Now, due to the racing we've seen here at Monza, we won't be able to get you a replay of J.D. Martin's race-ending incident until after the checkered flag falls, but we will bring it to you once we're done here at Monza. But as Martin retires from this race, we've got Polanski back into the lead ahead of Lane Sanders, with Mashburn taking a peek underneath the 87. We'll see if they can make it stick through the North Banking.
And it looks like he's gonna. Mark Davey might try to follow him through, or maybe, for a second there, it looked like he might try to squeeze in the middle and thought better of it. But Sanders goes from leader to third, maybe fourth, and then you got Hutchinson back there and McDonald. Yeah, this race is far from over.
As you can see, Mashburn makes a move to the outside of Polanski. So this is just an absolute thrill ride here at Monza. We got 6 cars in the mix for victory. We got 5 laps to settle it. 50 more kilometers to go, and this is just going to be very fun to see these 6 cars dice it out for victory. And who knows, if these guys all have problems, we've seen big accidents here before. We could see Brian Grigsby racing for a win here. Oh, and Sanders gets into the back of Mashburn, almost puts him into the grass.
Yeah, I don't know if there was something that he didn't like about how Mashburn tried to get by him, but he roughed him up a little bit to get third back, and now he's going to try to set sights back on the 01 and the 18 ahead.
Yeah, Mark Davies had a rough start to the season as well. He's outside the top 25 in points, yet to score a top 10 this season, as a matter of fact. So this could be a great run for him as well. As we check in on the rest of the field, Dylan Young fell all the way back to 23rd. Cody Goforth 21st. That's disappointing for them. You hate to see it for any of these guys. See J.D. Martin out of the race, and it looks like Brandon Beal's miserable Monza day is finally over. That engine finally couldn't take it anymore, and he is done for the day as well. Tough break for both those guys, but that's just what happens when you go to a racetrack that's incredibly tough on engines and incredibly easy to make a mistake.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, people who are not making mistakes are these guys fighting for the lead up here. No mistakes are being made. It's just really good cars fighting for a spot, and drivers determined to make it happen.
Absolutely. And Mark Davies now powered past Polanski for the lead. So give the Australian the top spot as they head through the North Banking to complete lap 16. We'll have 4 laps to go at the line. This is just going to be very fascinating to see which of these guys can pull this win out. Time will tell, but I think now that this 01's in the lead, this is going to be a real big challenge to get past him.
I don't know. That 87 is pretty strong, and we all know, we both know that 18 of Polanski is strong as well. These two might decide to work together a little bit, Sanders and Polanski, to get by, although Polanski seems to be falling back. Lane's just trying to figure out the right spot here, and we'll see what happens.
And here he comes pulling out to the outside on Mark Davey. down the long back straightaway. This is the longest full throttle section of the racetrack right here. We're gonna be close going into the Curva Grande, and I think Sanders is gonna try and edge out to the lead, but I don't know if he's gonna hold it. We'll see what happens here. He's got a nose out, but I think Davey's gonna hold on for a moment. Nah, man, these guys are still side by side.
Yeah, and Sanders decided that he wasn't going to be able to get it there, so he's going to he fell back and he's going to regroup and hope Polanski don't ruin his plans.
I'm sure, but for Mark Davey, this is going to be one of his most satisfying wins to date if he can hold on for like 3.5 more laps. I mean, sure, the 500, the crown jewel, that's what you want to win. The 4th of July race, that's another one you want to win. But he knows his strength is on road courses, and to get one at the Temple of Speed, that is one you're really going to be hard-pressed to deny is going to be a big win for that 01 team.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, someone who's hard-pressed is Lane Sanders, trying to keep that 18 of Polanski behind him. Meanwhile, Davey's looking at these guys saying, keep fighting side by side, let me drive away.
But now Polanski has passed Sanders for second. That's going to free the 18 to go chase after Davey in the L1. This is going to be a real slugfest. One of the classic Monza slipstreamers now. We come to 3 laps to go into the North Banking. Coming to 3 laps to go. Mark Davies got quite the lead now, though. It's going to take a lot for those guys out back to catch him.
Well, I don't know. These guys side by side, they're still not hanging too far back. Sanders one's back by Polanski, and no matter what happens, they're closing in just a little bit here, despite being side by side.
Absolutely. These guys are just... Oh, Polanski washes up. He gets loose going into the South Banking, and Polanski is going to lose a ton of time through this corner, and he's going to fall all the way to the back of the train now. As now he falls to 6th place. This is a dreadful turn of events for Jared Polanski, but a great one for Lane Sanders. He's side by side with Davey for the lead, going into the Curva Grande once again.
Yep. Polanski's misfortune is Sanders' fortune. As he's going to go by. He's got Mashburn right there behind him, but I don't know if Mashburn were to give him an arrow push to the lead and then follow him through. No guarantee that he would just let him coast on to the win.
And it looks like Mashburn actually has a little bit of damage on the rear end, perhaps when Sanders ran him into the grass a few laps ago. But you're right, Sanders is back to the lead, and wouldn't this be a very memorable win for him if he can hang on? It would be for both Davey and Mashburn, or Davey and Sanders, I should say. It would be their 3rd career win for both drivers. But regardless, it's going to be a big win for either one. But there's still 4 other guys in the mix with a shot at winning this thing, so don't count any of them out.
Yep, as we see Davey go back to the lead, and I'm pretty sure Sanders is on the radio telling his crew he's got another plan to get by. So we'll see. He's got a little bit of time, but not too much longer.
We're closing in on 2 laps to go. 12.4 miles to settle the win out here at Monza. This is the longest lap of the season, and these guys are taking full advantage as McDonald moves up into the 3rd spot. Where did he come from?
Hello, McDonald.
at the rate he's going right now, with Dylan Young mired back in the 20s, McDonald should take the points lead after this race. So if he's gonna have a great day here at Monza. He's side by side with Sanders for 2nd as we come to 2 to go.
Yep, and I would say Davey would be happy to see that, but we've seen it before. Side-by-side drivers tend to still suck up to the leader, it looks like Davey and Sanders were able to washed up a little bit, but the big loser on that was the 87.
And don't forget, we've seen McDonald steal wins from people on the final lap before. We saw it happen at Rockingham last year. He's not ashamed to take someone out of the race win on the final lap. We'll see if it happens this time around. McDonald might not even want to wait that long. He's alongside Sanders for the lead through Curva Grande.
That'd be Mark Davey, but talk about Sanders. He's already rallying back and trying to pull away from Mashburn and find a play to get by both McDonald and Davey.
We're tripping over our own words. This racing action has just been exhilarating from start to finish. This is the second to last lap of this race. And McDonald now in position to try and steal a win from Mark Davey. And I don't think there would be much remorse from McDonald if he were to do that. But we still have a lap and a half to go, and that's a long time here, so who knows what'll happen at this stage.
Yeah, you see right now things are spreading out a little bit. Mashburn trying to find a way to set himself up to get by Sanders, but wasn't able to do anything there. And we're looking at it right now, and I can't get over the fact that Brian Grigsby starting his P7 right now, and oh, this is going to be a great day for him if he can just hang on to that spot. Even if he drops to like 10th and stays there, he's still going to have a great day.
I'm sure Jeffrey Finguy's taking note because that's who owns Grigsby's truck full-time. So Finguy might consider promoting this guy if he's finishing this well in the Superstar Series on just his second try. But coming through the North Banking, we're coming to the white flag this time. It is Davey ahead of McDonald and Sanders. We'll see if anyone else can toss their hat into the ring here on this final tour of Monza.
Yeah, but you can see right now, Mashburn got passed by Hutchinson, and they're a little ways back of these three. I think it's a three-man race right now unless something happens to them.
Oh, McDonald has the check up in the South Banking. That's going to cost them all a lot of time. That's going to cost them so much. It's going to bunch them back into the three behind them. Look at the lead Davies got down the back straightaway they go.
Yeah, I had to say that. Oh, it looks like something's gone on with the 5 there. That's unfortunate for Anderson Reed, but back to the lead here, and Davies' lead didn't stay big for long. They're coming up fast.
Again, we'll get you a replay of what happened to Anderson Reed after the checkered flag flies, but this has been some great racing all around from all 6 of these guys and to the guys who were in contention before the pit stops began. These guys are just putting on an absolute show. This is proof that 1UP is great here at Monza, and Mark Davies on course to become the 4th different winner here in 4 races here. And he'll get his 3rd career win here if he can hang on for about another half lap or so.
Yeah, but it's a matter of if Sanders can get by the 12 of Ben McDonald, can he get up there and try to disrupt that plan for a 3rd win for Davey?
And give himself a 3rd win. It's very well possible. This is the final braking zone of the lap right here at Parabolica. This is going to be where people win or lose this race. Here they go into Parabolica. Looks like they're pretty single file now. Now it's just a straight up draft race, a drag race to the start finish line, which is just 2 corners away.
And Davies got this well in hand at the moment, but McDonald, he ain't going to give up. I honestly think that this is definitely, as they go through the banking for the final time, I think we already are seeing who our winner is going to be.
Coming out of the North Banking for the final time, McDonald's going to try and make a race out of this. He's closing in. He's going to try and pull out at the very last minute. He's going to pull up to the outside. Is it going to work? It's going to be a drag race to the line. He's not going to get there. And Mark Davey, by another drag race photo finish at Monza, he gets his 3rd career win and his 1st on a road course. Ben McDonald comes home 2nd place. Lane Sanders gets his best result in 2 years, coming home 3rd. Justin Hutchinson 4th, and Polanski runs at the top 5, just ahead of Miles Mashburn in 6th. And you said it, Brian Grigsby, what a job he did. He started in the 20s in this race, but he executed the pit strategy perfectly to bring it home 7th, ahead of Emma Carter in 8th, Jeffrey Finguy in 9th, and Jake McMillan rounds out the top 10 in this one. And there you see that blank 64 car. That is a fantastic run for a guy making only his 2nd career start.
Oh man, I tell you that he's got to be, like I said, he's got to feel like this is a win, and you know, it's definitely something you got to be proud of him for. He's no doubt proud of himself and his crew for the strategy and. Yeah.
Now we said we'd get you a look at Anderson Reed's accident that brought out his problems. We'll get that to you now. It looks like he was fighting for a spot in the top 20, and heading into Curva Grande, he just runs it wide. He just goes into the grass. There's nothing he can do. He's like ice skating at this point into the gravel trap, And I think this is where his damage is going to come. We said this would be a possibility. We've seen it every year here, and it struck Anderson Reed this time. He goes on the wrong side of the Armco, and he's just scraping along it, trying to rejoin the track, but he can't. His first opportunity he'll get to rejoin is at Lesmo 2. That's just a tough break for Anderson Reed. He had such a strong run at Atlanta, not so here at Monza.
Yeah, that's heartbreak right there. He's he's gonna want to forget this day for sure now.
And then we said we'd get you a look at J.D. Martin's incident as well. That's coming at you right now soon. I think this is going to be same story, second chapter for J.D. Martin. Although this was a lap earlier than Anderson Reed's problem. And yeah, he just goes off the same spot Reed did. And this is going to be interesting because he had a lot of front end damage on that 66 as well. I'm not sure where he got that. But this is where all his side damage is coming from, scraping along the Armco at such speed.
Yeah, and you see right there, the Anderson Reed machine there going by, perfectly fine at the moment.
Oh, I see the problem. He wasn't able to rejoin the racetrack at the first Lesmo, so he's going to be stuck here on this Armco for the entire rest of the lap here, unless he can rejoin here, and it doesn't look like he can. That's where the front end damage came from. He's still stuck on the other side of the Armco, headed towards the overpass, and that is a very solid object. You very much do not want to hit it, and I think now J.D. Martin has no choice.
Yeah, and you see right here, it's on a collision course, and it's not going to be pretty as William Brock just rides on by. And
yeah, this is an inevitable collision here. J.D. Martin's he's done nothing wrong. He's gone off track a little bit, and it's cost him the race right there.
And then now he finally gets to rejoin the track, but damage is already done. Too little, too late.
Absolutely.
He was out of the race.
Absolutely. Tough break for J.D. Martin, but them's the breaks here at Monza. So he and Reed will have to regroup and get ready for Iowa next time out. But man, what a race we had at Monza despite that. We had 9 lead changes, an impressive feat for a road course, and a very deserving winner in Mark Davey. That was a great one here.
Oh, absolutely. And there's been several of them that it would have been deserving winners of this one. And and you look at the finishing order. We had a lot of contenders throughout the race, before and after the pit stops.
Absolutely. Another great race at Monza. So, from James Ellison and from myself as well, we say goodbye from the Temple of Speed. Congratulations to Mark Davey on win number 3 of his career. We'll see you again next time out at Iowa for some rough and tumble short track action.